Hello, I'm excited to continue with Balaam's story from where we left off yesterday. And yeah, it's actually quite a very interesting story. So Balaam had told Balak that he would only speak the message that God put in his mouth. And up in the mountain, where he could see some of the Israelites, he asked for 7 altars to be built and prepared with 7 young bulls and 7 rams for sacrifice. Now, when I saw 7, I was like, obviously, I know that 7 is the number of God, is the number of perfection. So what's this guy up to? Because I know by this time that he's not a good guy. So I was confused, to be honest. After offering them, he left Balak and went to inquire of God. He returned and spoke blessings instead of curses on the Israelites, to Balak's displeasure, and he took him to another place. Balak took him to another place to see them and said, oh, perhaps you will curse them from here, and the same events occurred. Balak then takes him to the third place, hoping that it will please God for Balaam to curse the Israelites from there. This time, Balaam didn't even resort to his divination, because in the other 2 times he did the sacrifices and blah blah. He didn't even do that and didn't offer any burnt offering. The Spirit of God came upon him and he delivered a message which blessed the Israelites and threw Balak into a rage. And he sent him away and told him that God kept him from receiving his reward, i.e. the money that was promised and the silver and all, And Balaam just stood his ground. Stood by his word and said, even if you offered me all the silver and all the gold, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So in this thing, right, I thought, obviously this guy was a divinator. It was a diviner, right? Yes, that's the word. I was about to call him a divinator. Anyway, so obviously, that's consulting with, but in this time, I feel like, no matter what you are or whoever you think you are, God was who gave you that power. And I think he's able to use it to his own advantage. This is what happened here, in the sense that even though he had the power to curse, God was like, you're going to bless, you're going to do. And he even blessed them in the words that God had spoken, even as far back, to the patriarch. So you know that it's definitely the Spirit of God that was working here. Before he left, he gave a final message. This is Balaam that we're talking, which spoke about the future victories that the Israelites would have. And from 17 to 18 of that chapter, that's 23, stood out to me as a prophecy of Jesus Christ. Although some people believe, or some Bible scholars argue that because obviously he's a divinator, he can't prophesy. And then some people said it might be of David. But I did a bit of study, and I feel like he was foretelling the coming of Jesus, just by some of the phrases and things that I saw there. What did you think? I'll be interested to know. In chapter 25, some of the Israelite men got seduced by Moabite women and followed them to sacrifice to their gods, and Balaam was behind this. We'll see this in Numbers chapter 31 verses 14 to 17. Also in Revelation 2:14, because of the defilement, a plague came upon the people and killed about 24,000 of them. And one Israelite was even so bold as to bring a Midianite woman into his tent in the full glare of everyone, and that was like blatant sin, like to say, you know what, now I don't even care anymore. And Phinehas, Aaron's grandson, was so angry, he picked up his spear and he goes in and he spears them, like spears through the man into the woman's stomach and kills them in one fatal blow. And this stops the plague, and God rewards him. Now, he was Aaron's descendant, so I feel like the same thing that made Aaron run out with that censer to offer the incense to stop the plague in the previous chapter we read was maybe the same thing. So for this, God now rewards him and says that he has a permanent right to the priesthood, and so does his descendants for what he did. The Lord ordered Moses to attack and destroy the Midianites because of what had happened. Now here's the character of God that I found, and I want to just start by reading chapter 23 verses 19 to 20 of Numbers. That's where the main lesson that I learned from of God came from. And it says, God is not a man, so he doesn't lie. He's not human, so he doesn't change his mind. Has he ever spoken and failed to act? Has he ever promised and not carried it through? Listen, I received a command to bless. God has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. These are Balaam's words. And I believe that that's the summary of everything that I know about God from here. And also that God is love. Because in 23:21, God said he hadn't beheld any iniquity in Jacob, nor had he seen any wickedness in Israel, which from what we know is not the actual, case here, because all they've been doing is iniquity, complaining, rebellion, and all. But God didn't see that because he was looking at them through the eyes of love. But like the first verse I read, God isn't like us. He was speaking from a place of love, the eyes with which he beheld his people. Look at all the lengths that he went to protect them and bring them to where they are. So that's it from me today. I am very pleased that you were able to join me, and I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.